Well, Finland is the root of having the concept of OPC Day. So started with that in 2002, and from then the Germans just looked around and copied the best, right, and tried to adapt that in the world. Yeah, and right now I'm really traveling a lot, so we will see some slides later. To give you a very short introduction, that there is no confusion. I mean, I have a 20-year history working for Beckhoff before, but we are pretty much friends here with Siemens right now, because, well, I guess we learned that later on. I think definitely, and this is not a fishing for compliment, this is just reality. In the world of OPC, Siemens and Beckhoff have been the early adapters to really move things in the world. If Siemens would have not been with that pressure and engagement behind, the world wouldn't definitely look like this. And still Siemens, by the way, so question to the audience, and now the Siemens people have been quiet, of course. So what have been the first two products, OPC-enabled products in the world? What do you guess? Oh, come on. Well, of course, from Beckhoff and Siemens. What did you expect? So Siemens have been the world's first company with a certified OPC UA product. I think nobody really believes that, because it's a huge big company, normally the smaller companies are quicker. Yes, at that time I was a Beckhoff product manager, so yeah, we have been product a little bit earlier out on the market, but at the end, the more value certified product has been done by Siemens. But of course, let's start with a presentation. So there was one person asking me, and hopefully you are fine. So what is with the old OPC Classic? Is it dead or not? And so my feeling was, okay, I need this 30-minute introduction, which you also can download from the web. What is really OPC UA? I'm not diving into an OPC UA deep explanation. This is really what is not the topic today. But for all others, we do exactly this one.
What is OPC? OPC UA is an open standard that specifies information exchange for industrial communication, particularly on devices within machines, between machines, and from machines to systems in a convergence of IT and OT. It can be used with any software platform, Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, well, you get the picture. And this makes OPC UA scalable, from minimal embedded controllers to massive cloud infrastructures, even mobile devices. OPC UA is equally suited in a closed network or utilized via the internet. Don't worry though, security is baked into the protocol for access control, authentication, and encryption. Because of its flexibility, OPC UA has been widely adopted in industries like automotive, food and beverage, oil and gas, energy and utilities, packaging, building automation, and so on. So, as manufacturing moves into the industrial Internet of Things Industry 4.0 realm, OPC UA is already poised to fulfill requirements.
So, as a summary, the old OPC Classic is moving single data points from left to right. There's no support of really complex data. It has not really been adapted worldwide. Security is solved with OPC UA, and it's baked in. So, and this is one of the big benefits. Security and reliability is top number one. On the OPC Day Europe, which we had, Microsoft did a fantastic presentation, and they started the presentation with whatever we start thinking on, it has to be secure. This is top number one. If it's not secure, then interoperability or other kind of connectivity doesn't make sense. Security is number one. And that's why if you have today unsecured protocols and then you figure out a secured IT environment, say, hey, that's secure, that has not a really good value for the future. Because OPC UA has been designed into the architecture that you really can provide built-in security with all three aspects: authentication, encryption, and signature. And that makes it much more valuable. The OPC Foundation is even right now it's more and more public with the German Industry 4.0 is an international organization, and it's an international IEC specification. It really scales from sensor to cloud. This is what I do a presentation later on the day with a lot of examples, and it's independent. This is one of the most biggest criteria. It's really completely vendor independent, from market independent, operating system independent. So think about that. And we call it OPC Unified Architecture because it's much more than a protocol. I guess Matthias is talking more on that. If it would be just a protocol, we would have named it Unified Protocol, right? It's Unified Architecture because the protocol layer can be extended. It's TCP, HTTP today, but Matthias will talk about other UDP and AMQP mechanisms and why we do it. The OPC Foundation is worldwide, but of course we are proud that we have 50% of all members worldwide from Europe. And again, the OPC Foundation is where the IT people and the automation people meet. And this is also what you see on the board of directors. Since end of last year, it has been much more dominated by US companies on the board. It has switched dramatically. As you see now, we have 4 European companies on the board. Before that, it was just one company. It was Siemens as a founding member of the OPC Foundation. So you see that the adoption in Europe is much higher, and the technology point of view, also driven by Industry 4.0, is let companies recognize, oh, we should take care on this technology. It has high value. The board of directors has extended the board also with SAP because we want to grow into the IT world, and the board of directors already has made a decision that we also want to nominate another US-based IT company, which we will announce end of this year. So I don't know what would be your wish, but well, you can tell me in the break, right? In case you have not seen this, so how is the organization internally? We have a technical control board with a technical advisory council. The chairman of this technical advisory council is Karl-Heinz Daritzbacher from Siemens since begin, which means Siemens is very actively here in the in hosting, keeping aware of all the technology, keeping everything together. If you have something, a technology which is available in different markets, in different domain, it's pretty tricky to really keep that together and not spread around. Then we have a marketing control board. This is what I run and host, and now we are pretty much on organizing to build up. So we have a very extreme exciting team here in Europe. Juno is doing this exactly here in Finland very successfully for multiple years, and now I try to build up this also in North America, because we will see later on that the adoption of OPC UA in North America is much lower. There are some specific reasons which I would talk more open if it's maybe not streamed, but you can imagine that if companies pretty much are active and dominate a market, well, then there is not really a reason to support open standards. But my feeling is that exactly with 2 global key players, GE but also Siemens in North America, the North American market will change quickly. OPC Japan, just to let you know, who is aware of that, Yokogawa, Mitsubishi, Microsoft, Toshiba, Omron, they do a lot of meetings, nearly monthly. They do translations and activities. China has we started with a new company there, so just go quickly there. The number of member companies in China are growing quickly also. Yeah. For membership, this is more for statistics, because I guess you get the slides later on, so you can figure out where's Finland, and here you see it's with 5%. But inside Europe, of course, well, Germany is pretty strong available here. OPC UA had the business model that the OPC Foundation, only OPC members could access source code internally, and external companies. Well, if you want to enable your product with OPC UA, you go normally to a toolkit vendor. The board of directors, even the previous board of directors, made a decision to move into public and open source. And why did we do that? Well, because we wanted to lower down the barrier to really get access to the bits to evaluate the technology. This was the idea. Do not mix up open source is equal I do not have to pay anything, or I get something for free. This is not the message of open source. The message of open source is, and I feel personally from my history that inside industrial automation everybody knows you need a partner, you need strong support behind, you need people who are aware of the technology, who deliver quality. That's why nobody has a problem to go to a toolkit vendor, put money on the table and then you get value, right? In the IT world it's a little bit different. And if we want to really spread out OPC UA as the one and only accepted world global standard for IoT, then let's move and make OPC UA available as open source that people can download and play with that. Hopefully they accept it, they have more confidence, but then go to a toolkit vendor and buy really product level code. This is exactly the idea. And this is definitely what is behind. So we made the decision, all specifications are already online, and right now the .NET stuff is online. On GitHub it's not really public right now, but that's nearly finalized. So these are the specifications. There are some open source projects already available, 6 to 8, but, and this is really even a public statement into the camera. Status of today is that I'm personally not aware of one open source project providing full featured implementation. Sometimes complex data are missing, sometimes complete security is missing. So status of today is, and this is my clearly message to the audience and to the rest of the world, if you want to do industry high quality product today, go to a toolkit vendor. Otherwise you lose time and a lot of money later on. By the way, I know that a wind turbine service call is about, is it $5,000 US, something like that. I know this from my own history, yeah, and that hurts a lot, I know. Okay, I got a little bit what is the difference between IoT and Industry 4.0. And so a very quick stuff. ThyssenKrupp made a really good explanation of what is IoT together with Microsoft. They connected all elevators with a small proxy box to the Azure cloud and pushed all data into the Microsoft Azure cloud and then did analytics. So they can exactly predict when does what elevator need service before the elevator goes down. So it's a win-win-win for everybody. ThyssenKrupp learns more about the elevators, can improve the product and the service. The buildings have the benefit of people don't get in panic, and the availability is higher. It's a really good win-win-win story. There's a video also which I, due to time now, don't show, but you see the link. So at the end, and this is a stolen copy from Microsoft, but you could also put IBM or Oracle or other IT companies on top. They think IoT is collect all the data with what protocol, whatever, don't care. And because there are trillions of devices connected to, and you want to collect the data from trillions of devices, then you need a scalable storage, and this is exactly the cloud. And then they promise new business models inside the cloud that you can do analytics, which is also influencing back the product and the process. From that point of view, everything is great. I fully understood the story. From a technical point of view, all these companies provide a royalty-free agent or something like a little bit software layer, which companies should integrate into their devices. So, which means even Microsoft is providing agents for different operating systems, and they understood, well, if Android is the #1 cell phone operating system, let's provide a Microsoft IoT SDK for Android, because then we can collect easily data from Android. Data is the value. If Microsoft wants to earn money, let's collect data from every platform, not only from Microsoft. And more like a, well, by the way, this is more really like a byte stream, a blob, which is then pushed to the cloud. And so in the future, in the near future, I know that a lot of companies go into the market with gateway solutions. So for example, Intel also tries, or Cisco tries to go into this market and say, we have a gateway, put this gateway in front of your machine. It supports all kinds of protocols, NT Connect and others, BACnet, and then you can connect to existing devices. But of course, there are also ways to more integrate these protocols directly into machines with benefits and disadvantages. So here you don't have a really end-to-end security story, but of course these kind of devices will be successfully because we have an existing world. So we need gateways to connect all these machines. Just to give you a very short update, if you want to from Microsoft, add a new device in their cloud system, generate a device ID, then you have three keys, a device ID, a host name, and a security key, and then it's 10 lines of code, which is not important today, but my message, yes, it's easy to implement that kind of SDKs into your device to push data into the cloud. But from point of technology, again, what does it mean? IBM is providing this, Microsoft is providing you that. So if different devices implement different agents to push data in different clouds, at the end we don't have interoperability. We have connectivity, but not interoperability. And this is where I think this is exactly not really efficient. You already mentioned Industry 4.0. I will not start at the beginning on all the goals of Industry 4.0, but Industry 4.0 is much more focused not on the IT pushing data into cloud-centric. It's much more focused on production plans, devices talk to each other, machines talk to each other. The product itself contains all information about what should be produced. And then you need really machines talking horizontal to each other. I need to transport to be transported to a saw and so on. So discovery of services. What can you offer me as a service is much more important. The modeling of services. And of course cloud is one option. I'm not sure what the mood here in Finland is about pushing all data to cloud systems. In Germany, where I'm coming from, it's depends on which region, which market you're talking. It's a little bit different, right? Yeah. This year, to give you an update, at the Hanover Trade Show, the German Minister of Economy made an update of Industry 4.0, and this has been published and presented at the OPC press conference. By the way, this is my colleague Thomas Hahn from Siemens. He's from Siemens on the board of directors of the OPC Foundation, and he provided exactly the update of what is OPC UA inside Industry 4.0, because Siemens, together with Festo and SAP, is leading in that Industry 4.0 board. As you see here, we had a lot of other really perfect companies, KUKA, Microsoft, Ethercat Technology Group, Harting, SAP, being also at that press conference. In this document, and you have the link here, the URL, it has 100 pages, and the first 50 are a little bit more academic, the next 50 are really concrete recommendations. Start today. Industry 4.0 is no longer something like what we want to do and let's think about. There is a status report exactly saying, let's do it like this. And there you see there's one approach for implementation, a communication layer, and there is just one listed, it's OPC UA. This does not mean that field bus systems are dead, of course. I mean, machines have to run, so we need all the Profinets and the Ethercats and the Zercos and the CAN and whatever I forgot now to list, right? But this is really the hard deterministic real time to let machines and robots run. But the connectivity from machines to the outside world, they only recommend OPC UA. And there's a small one-page PDF summary which also summarizes make use of field bus systems based on Ethernet and OPC UA. So this is a little bit more clear that of course we need field bus systems. Okay, so if you look from the outside world to a machine, then definitely, as I mentioned before, we need a model to look to a machine. So whatever machine you now have in your mind depends on your own business. Could be a packaging machine, could be an injection molding machine, could be a wind turbine, which we heard before. What is topic number one if you connect to that machine? It's security. It's the outer layer. You want to have a full secured access, which also allows to have access rights to different areas of whatever the machine is providing. And then we want to know what is this for a machine. Is it a wind turbine and so on? So we'll talk about modeling. And then we have all of our services, live data, or for engineering, for up and downloading logic, for administration and so on. And then internally, by the way, yeah, we have somehow an operating system in real time, which you don't see to the outside world, right? If you look to a packaging machine from the outside world, you are not aware of what kind of operating system is inside, and the person who's running that is not interested. Internally, anyway, the machine is running on abstraction layers like PLC Open and others. Okay, so if now we want to have access to that machines in an interoperable way, exactly security is key topic number one. And because of the relevance of OPC UA for the German Industry 4.0, the German government, the BSI, started a project to analyze the security of OPC UA, and they made a deep dive into the specification first, which is finalized, and now they are really even analyzing the reference implementation of the ANSI C-stack. And even today, after it is not completely finalized, the head of this department, Mr. Juncker, says the only communication technology for industrial environments that I currently know, and so on, is OPC UA. And you see this statement, there's a half-page statement on an OPC brochure, which I will show you later. It's exactly this, and this is what you can also download from the OPC Foundation web. It's really a great, so for all of you who are not really aware what is the value of OPC UA, why should I do this? This is really a fantastic brochure. So it has a lot of information from international companies, like testimonials. It has a 6 or 8 page technical overview from Karl-Heinz Dalletsbacher from Siemens, together with a person from ABB, with a couple of success stories inside. So really download that stuff. And that's also getting started. Who should I contact? Where's my starting point with contact ideas of the toolkit vendors? So here you see some of that faces: Microsoft, SAP, Oracle, GE, other pages are others. Well, as you mentioned, I'm traveling a lot. Sometimes I think it's too much. Before I started my job, I was happily married and saw my kids from time to time. My feeling is I'm still happily married, okay, but yeah, hopefully. So it's not too easy. So if you see here, we went to Boston, Toronto, Chicago in just 3 days, right? And so my US colleague said, hey, why the hell are you doing that? I mean, we can do it every 2 weeks. I said, no, I will not fly over the ocean every 2 weeks, right? So it's work, it's job. So that's what we get money for. So let's do it. So it was fantastic time, every evening airport food and arriving at the hotel at midnight and doing the next show the next day. My proposal was, let's drive with a bus overnight, but they didn't want to sleep with me in the same bus because, well, yeah. But as you see here, we have been at MathWorks, we have been at Santa Clara, at Oracle, or with National Instruments. So yes, we try to increase visibility in North America. And the next event, by the way, is on November 3rd, hosted by Siemens in Atlanta. So Thomas Hahn is, by the way, as a board member, is going there doing a Siemens presentation on what Siemens is doing with OPC. Okay, well, this is just the partners and the overview, and we will continue next year. So we are looking for other new cities. What is the goal? What are we working on? Definitely, the vision is OPC UA should become the worldwide accepted standard for IoT. OPC is already the de facto standard, or the upcoming de facto standard inside industrial automation, yes. But we have to look a little bit into the broader scope, and yes, we want to also be in that IoT story, and therefore we need technical enhancements to directly connect to the cloud with massive number of devices. Today you can move data with OPC UA into the cloud. You can connect a couple of devices, 50, 100, whatever, but you cannot really connect 100, 200, 2 million devices directly to the cloud today. Then you would need wrappers today, which are, by the way, also provided by Microsoft. Microsoft is right now working on a royalty-free, open source OPC UA to Microsoft Azure Cloud wrapper, which they want to make open public end of this year. And they are also working on a OPC UA client and server for their operating Windows 10 IoT core operating system. So this is where you see their commitment, seeing that, well, at the end, of course, it's money business. If we want to connect to all these devices, what is the easiest way? Well, let's trust on that standard, because we are immediately connected to a large, huge number of devices, not only the controllers, also to all kinds of field devices, which I, again, give you an overview later. So to do that, we have to grow definitely collaboration. Collaboration is key number one, and we have already a lot of collaborations with different organizations, but this is what we have to grow. First is number one, and second, we have to make it more visible, because unfortunately today this is not visible on the OPC web. Let's say even public, no problem with that. OPC has always done really fantastic technology, and friendly said, the marketing was poor. And this is what I want to change, right? With help of others. And so we are redesigning the web right now. The OPC web should be the worldwide platform number one, where you can see and find all kinds of information models. If they are done officially between OPC Foundation and another organization, or even unofficially by whatever university and student who did it in the afternoon and said, hey, I did an information model for a lamp, right? Then you say, hey, great. The BugNet people did it already before, but why not? And so anyway, so you should really have one place where you find everything, what people thought in the world of what can I do with OPC UA. And this is exactly what we are working on. All collaboration should be visible with exactly one overview page. The BugNet people already provided me input. So this is what is BugNet about, what is the collaboration between BugNet, and in the first page. The second page is much more technical, because yes, we have a collaboration with BugNet, because BugNet is the de facto standard inside building automation. That's great. They defined exactly all the profiles for the lamp, the blind, and so on. But there's no connection from the building automation to other domains and to the IT enterprise. If you directly want to connect to billing systems, there is exactly this wrapper to OPC UA, and then you have the BugNet objects, keep the BugNet objects, copy them into the OPC UA namespace, and then you have all the flexibility of the transport and the built-in security and the interoperability. This is the idea of a lot of collaborations. Second, I want to start an academic program that having a Raspberry Pi board costs about €40, and then you can put on a couple of different operating systems. Windows 10 runs on that, but you can of course also put Linux and whatever other operating system on that, and then put an OPC UA server on that even young people can have some practice at universities to become more familiar with that technology, that it's really super easy and simple to connect to the outside world. This is what we are working to make it happen. And then we want to redesign the web completely. This is my homework for the next 6 to 8 weeks, and it's not only the landing page for all the information models, it should also be the landing page for all OPC UA enabled products. It's something like the Amazon for OPC UA products. So we need more categories for the products. Which are you a sensor? Are you a PLC? Are you an HMI? Which operating system? We need much more filters, that you really can figure out your product, what you are looking for, much quicker. So this should be the marketplace for product. And as you see here, we are less talking on technology. So who is aware well, MDIS? Well, maybe MDIS is popular here because you are more in Finland in the north area. So you are aware that MDIS stands for oil and gas. But sometimes you read a name, but you are not aware what market is behind. So we have to talk more on the markets on the web, that people get an easier introduction. And then if you select one from one of the markets, let's say automation, because that's what I know best, then you figure out, okay, there are a lot of collaborations with field bus organizations, with controller PLC Open, with PACML, and so on. And so this is how we want to change the appearance on the web to convince more and more people. Collaborations, we have already a couple of one in 2015, but this is really dramatically growing right now. So definitely in Europe, collaboration is key number one. The injection molding machine companies, even competitors, right, came together and said, hey, we are not differentiating a machine because of the connectivity to the outside world. Our machines differentiate because of they can produce quicker or more precisely, or the costs are different, whatever, but not on the external connectivity. We want something like the USB connector for software services. And this is what they want to standardize. And this is why they now do a Euromap 77 mapping for injection molding machines into OPC UA, and Matthias is working with that group. The EtherCAT technology group did it. Same with Zerkos, by the way, before. It's a field bus system, but if you go vertical up into cloud systems, how do you do that? They could extend their protocol somehow, but then they figured out we have to do modeling, we have to build in security. Is this really our key focus? No, it's not. Let's cooperate with the OPC Foundation. And this is exactly what is now upcoming also with Profinet and PowerLink at this SPS show to start that activities. And also non-industrial automation areas like kitchen device manufacturers are doing this. For energy and IEC 61850, Schneider initiated a new group to map IEC 61850 objects into OPC UA namespace to go into this energy market. And so my feeling is, yes, inside Europe, we have a lot of collaborations here doing this. And then we have to change our business model of the OPC Foundation, yes. So this is a more an announcement that you figure out where's OPC growing into the world. Today, about 90% of all OPC UA products are made on toolkits from Process or Unified Automation, Softing, and today just 10% of them are OPC members to do certification and so on. So we have to change the business model that we also open the door for non-OPC members to the certification as a service, paid money, of course. This is what we have to do. Well, and then last but not least, I want to finalize with a video again with some big brands, as you see here. So from Microsoft, Siemens, SAP, and Harting, and some other companies.
Siemens are in the OPC Foundation, one of the founding members since '96.
The OPC standards have played a tremendous role in enabling data exchange in the enterprise.
OPC UA is a great opportunity for the RFID and Auto ID industry.
Auto ID as a basic technique for the Industry 4.0 has now a common manufacturer and technique independent interface.
So all this is integration, mobile data and standardized communication, and that is what we set up together with OPC.
OPC Unified Architecture is much more than just a protocol. It has built-in security by design, but also provides modeling of information models.
And now we're talking about specifically activities related to the Internet of Things and the ever-popular Industry 4.0.
We feel this is an important standard, and this standard really helps us in our product to provide the connectivity to the shop floor that our customers need.
Well, that was my presentation. Thank you very much. Other questions?
Any questions?
Or is everybody hot waiting for the coffee, right?
Yeah.
We run over time a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. That's some technical problems. There are one question, Riva.
Perfect.
Okay, the Microsoft solution, is it just an OPC UI client and IMQB bridge, or is it a native OPC UI running in Azure?
It is what they showcased at the Hannover trade show, it was also in this video, was a gateway. So what they did is they implemented an OPC UA client, collecting data from UA servers, converting the data into their internal AMQP to push data into AMQP. So it's a gateway solution. And because they implemented it in .NET, well, you need a PC in front of your device. It depends a little bit on what your device is designed. If it's running VxWorks, Linux, then you need a box before, a Windows box. If it's a Windows-based controller, then you can integrate that. But this is just step number one. They just wanted to get a quick solution on their own, a feeling. And this solution is it's nothing to blame the Microsoft. For me, it's a great message that IT company from operating system number one in the world is looking at that OPC standard, right? It was just one way: collect data, push it to AMQP, to cloud, earn money in the cloud, right? That story. But there are also other commercial products on the market already from company C-Labs, which is later in my presentation, which have much more implemented functionalities. So not only push data up into cloud, also get back, or two devices from different vendors providing OPC UA server being connected through the cloud as a relay technology, completely secure. So there are a lot of more systems right now, but I don't want to steal Matthias his slides, but Microsoft is really pretty committed on OPC UA because they sent their expert on cloud messaging, which is Mr. Vastas, Clemens Vastas, into the OPC UA core working group, which Matthias is also working in, and so there were recommendations. Why not extend the OPC UA stack directly with AMQP? Right, because then you can directly, so end of the year, whenever, I don't want to put time pressure on him, but well, ask him when he provides an update of his stack next year somehow, right? And then you recompile your project, your OPC UA server, which is running with the Prosus OPC UA SDK. And then you have additionally automatically new connection endpoints, and you can directly connect your controller to cloud systems. And this is cool. So you don't have to spend additional time, but the UA architecture is growing with these new functionalities, with UDP, with AMQP. I don't know exactly if Matthias, are you talking about the TSN? Okay, so I keep that for him. Okay. Thank you very much.
Good, thank you.